In this video, you will learn about a tool called Zoom to host synchronous video chats with your students. First, you will learn how to sign up for a free account. Then, you will learn how to invite your students to a Zoom room. Finally, you will learn how to host a session, including how to use the share screen function.
To create an account, go to the zoom.us webpage, and in the box where it asks you to enter your work email, enter your Kindle address, and then click sign up for free. You'll then be getting an email at that email address to confirm. And then you go to your email and click the link. Once I have activated my account via the email that I received, I can log back into Zoom, and probably one of the first things I want to do is I want to change my photo here so that when I'm actually in a Zoom meeting, students can see my picture. And then when I'm ready to set up a meeting, I click on schedule a meeting. I can give it a name. I choose the date that the meeting is going to be held and give it a time. And then the expected duration of the meeting, so I'll say 1 hour. Then you can say, do you want your video to be available? So yes. And then do I want students to have the ability to turn their video on? So I would say on as well. Then I have some options here where I can require students to have a password. I'm going to leave that blank. I can enable the students to join the meeting room before I get there. I'm going to say I want them to wait until I get there. And I can automatically mute the participants once they enter. And I'm going to go ahead and check that so that and then they can always unmute themselves. And then I can either use my personal meeting ID, which is a permanent ID that I have for my account, or I can generate a new ID and then share that ID with my students. I'm just going to generate a brand new one. Click schedule. And then Zoom will set up my meeting. It's also going to give me a personal meeting ID that I'm going to share with my students. And there are a lot of other options over here on the left side also. Alright, so now my meeting is scheduled. I have a meeting ID right here, and this is the number that I would share with my students, perhaps in an announcement in Blackboard, so that when students log in, they are required to enter a meeting ID, and this is the one that they would enter. I can always go back and change any of these settings if I want to later, because over on my left side over here I have a My Meetings option, and if I click that, it'll give me a list of the meetings that I have scheduled. Now I also have the ability to just share a meeting ID with students. When the meeting is about ready to start, students will go to zoom.us and then click on join a meeting, and then here is where they're going to be asked for the meeting ID. So since you've shared that meeting ID with students via announcement perhaps in Blackboard, they would copy that number and then paste it in here and then click join. A pop-up will ask them if they're ready to open up the application, and then click open link. And then Zoom will connect them to the room. If you have not, as the host, entered the room, it'll give them this message saying that the meeting will start soon. As the host of the meeting, you could log into your account, look for the meeting that you have scheduled by clicking on My Meetings, and then click the Start button. And just like with the students, Zoom will connect you to the room. And then you're in your room. So once you're in your meeting room, Your students' videos will show up here on the right side of the screen or on the left side, and it's a movable list of your students who are participating. A menu bar appears down here at the bottom, one of them that tells you the number of people who are participating. Right now it's just me. And you also have the ability to mute or unmute your microphone and turn on and off your video. One of the really cool features of this tool is that I can also do a share screen. So right now my video takes up the whole thing. I can click on share screen, and then I can come over and choose my screen, and now I can share my screen with everybody else who is participating on the screen in the conference call. I can click on annotate, and I can point out certain things. So if I'm demonstrating for students how to complete, for example, this accounting lemonade simulation, I can point out certain things on here so that when they're off doing the assignment on themselves, they have a better understanding of how to do the simulation. I can stop share, and I'm back to my full screen again. Students also have the ability to share their screens. So this could be a great way to support students who might be having, for example, technical help with using Blackboard or using some other tool in the class. You can have them share their screen, and they can demonstrate what they're doing or what problems they're having. Or perhaps you could use it as an opportunity for students to present something to the rest of the class. So they can share their screen, maybe they're sharing a PowerPoint, and then everybody else in the meeting can then see what they are presenting.